Hello, traitors and treasure trackers. My name is TV Skyn, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where we have been shocked by the devastating news that our good friend Midas, who we had known for so long, might be consorting with the enemy for some reason, and also that she might be 100 years old and the person who wrote the instruction manual of how to build Alexander in the first place. Gasp! Betrayal! Drama! And so, now we need to deal with that stuff, because figure out what's going on, so that we can make it stop going on so much, because it's bad that it's going on, and we're gonna have to make it go not. Go off. No, that's also going on. If you're worried about Round Rocks, don't be. Wetch won't let it come to any harm. Truth be told, I'm more worried about this business with Midas. Still, we should be careful making any rash decisions, as you can bet that's what the Illuminati want. For now, I reckon we should give her the benefit of the doubt. Innocent still proven guilty and all that. And anyway, we've got more pressing matters to deal with. Namely, taking back that Codex fragment and pushing it on into Alexander before the Illuminati have a chance to shore up their defenses. You ready for another round? Haha, good. The sooner you get going, the better, I reckon. Oh, and when you're in the belly of the beast, be sure and break something for me, eh? Let's take a look at Alexander itself, by the way, now that we can. Sort of assuming the barrier will stop me. Yep, okay, well, fair enough. That's no problem. So, two little pinprick eyes on the head of the thing. But balancing it very nicely with, like, the idea of feeling like a construct or a walking fortress. It really is the glowing eyes. Like, it's really the fact that there's these two little glowing pinpricks on top of this thing, on top of what seems to be shoulders, that makes it look human. Like, that gives it that humanoid aspect of, like, oh, that's a face. Take away those glowing pinpricks and it seems much less like that. In fact, someone might think that this down here was the face. I do like that, like with the two horns coming out of the head, almost like devil horns, that sort of makes it scarier. And of course, black and red for the color scheme. Alexander, when it's holy element, like which it usually is in Final Fantasy, is like a holy elemental summon. So it's like a summon made of light, and it usually has a white and gold color scheme. But not so much here. Black and red and gold. Fishnets. Whew. Whew. Of course there's fishnets. Oh, I like the purple-yellow. That pops a lot. Anyway, don't get distracted by cool lambs. Alexander's a gaming chair. Ooh, tin soldier. And another tin soldier. And another tin soldier. And another tin soldier. And a bunch more tin soldiers. I hope you remember the mechanics of each soldier. I do not. But I guess I'll have to learn. Okay, so it lays down landmines that you can step on later. Well, that's not great. Oh, hello. What's happening? Okay, so they're just doing their thing. You can't stop them. Okay. Okay, so that puts down landmines, and it has the thing with the ghost soldiers, whatever the hell those things are. Everyone's here, everyone's ready. What do you do? Damage, okay. What? Okay. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Okay, so you just do big motherfucking beam attacks that really fucking hurt. Okay. Ah! I thought I could run through him and to get away from it. So does he lock in his... When does he lock in his aim? Like, does he just lock in the aim immediately, or... He targets it, like, so you can't avoid it. Okay, you just have to survive it with your... Okay, so there's no dodging it, you just have to take it. I get it, okay. Right. Okay. That's a mechanic to remember. Double cannon is a party split. You gotta take it alongside the group. Single cannon is a tank buster. You gotta mitigate it. Oh, good! Great, okay. Fucking hell. Well, that might be... We want to wait for people to recover their brink of death before we go. I'll let the other tank make the decision about whether to pull. The worst is over, they say. Okay. Let the other tank take it. Yeah. Ooh, the drums. Swindler, huh? Oh, okay. You did a thing? Okay, what's happening? Do we want to stack on that? What are we supposed to do? Well, no one's dead, so it's not going too terribly. Okay. You need exactly the right or number of people. Too few or too many is a fail. Aha! Hovering over debuffs tells you what to do. Yeah! I guess that's gonna be important. Well, alright then. Oi! Oh, I see. Thank you. Have to hide behind the thing. Friendly soldiers yoinking me out of there. Whew. I know my grid isn't on. I left it off intentionally because Clea seemed to want to take the tank aggro, but, Whew, we lived! We lived. We survived. Another Illuminati brainchild back on the scrap pile, is it? Ha! If only I could have been there to watch you dismantle the thing. Would you like to notice, Mide's back. Now, I haven't said a word to her about what went on when she was away, as I wanted you to have on hand if things turn nasty, but, since she gets on better with you anyways, maybe it'd be best if you spoke to her yourself. Oh yes, me, the Warrior of Light, the man of many words. Brick, you haven't seen Round Rocks, have you? I was looking forward to hearing about the new treasure she's found. I see. Well, I will not lie to you. Some of it is true.
I did meet with the Illuminati, but that is not the whole story. Allow me to explain.
You're saying you handed over the Codex fragment to stop the Illuminati from coming here and taking it?
Yes, but the fragment I handed over to them was not but a stone picked from a pile of rubble. The true Codex fragment is here, safe and sound.
I bloody knew quick things was lying. The way you told it, you'd been working with the Illuminati all along. Oh, load of old bilge, the lot of it.
I am afraid not. Quick things told you true. In fact, it was I who first taught the goblins how to summon the primal. I meant only to use them for my own ends, of course. Much as I did you. The author of the Enigma Codex was an ancestor of mine. The creation of the so-called perfect world proposed within it has long been the goal of certain members of our tribe, myself included. For years we strove in secret to realize its high ideals, free of the twisted idealism which seems to have infected the Illuminati.
Not so free of it if you were doing it in secret because you had a reasonable expectation that other people might hear your plan and be like, hey, that's fucked up and dumb, actually.
During that time, there was one who served as our leader, a man who made us believe that our perfect world was within reach, a man with whom I fell in love. I wished for nothing more than to see his dreams come to fruition. So blind was my devotion, I agreed to help him summon a primal without a second thought. The danger to our lives never even crossed my mind, but on that day, 3 years ago, I came to know the folly of our mission. In an instant, the infernal machine laid waste to our hopes, snuffing out the lives of my companions, and the man I loved was dragged into its core. In a last desperate attempt to make right our mistake, I called forth a barrier with which to seal Alexander. At that moment, however, the codex shattered and the Colossus vanished without a trace. When the dust settled, I found myself surrounded by the broken fragments of the codex, the cold, accusing remnants of our dream of a perfect world. We were fools to think only of the future. I did not realize it until my friends were gone, but the time we spent in our journey together, pursuing a shared dream, those moments were as precious as any paradise we could have hoped to build.
Well, it's a sad old tale, I'll give you that, but it doesn't explain why you had the Illuminati summon the Primal, or why you had us help you infiltrate it. After everything you've been through, you can't seriously think any good will come of reviving Alexander. You all but said as much yourself.
Good has nothing to do with it. Understand, I did not act out of any lingering adherence to my old ideals. I simply wanted to see him again, and perhaps walk to the ends of the world with him.
He's been in the core of that thing for 3 years without food or water. I think, maybe, the main thing you're gonna find is like a skeleton. Him.
Mad cannot mean Alexander.
Not Alexander itself, but the soul I believe still resides within.
Soul of our blender sleeps in giant machine? Never has Betrayal heard such nonsense. Might must abandon this.
Now's not the time. I've got one more question to ask you. What happens when all the codex fragments are brought together? Alexander was born from hearts that yearned for a perfect world. The writings of the Enigma Codex inspired such desire, but they're more than just a collection of texts. The Codex can also be used to control the primal. To be precise, 2 elements are required, a complete Enigma Codex and one capable of reading it. When both are present, Alexander can be commanded to transport its residents wherever they choose. I myself was once able to read the Codex, but those days are long gone. Now the fragments are as dead to me as the stones beneath my feet. There is another, however, to whom the Codex still responds. One we all know quite well.
What? Round rocks? You saying that little girl's the key to controlling a bleeding primal? This is round rocks. Round rocks has been captured. God damn it, Wedge. It's all my fault. I only lost sight of Round Rocks for a moment, but by the time I spied her again, the Illuminati had her surrounded. I cannot do anything right. If they hurt her, I shall never forgive myself. Please bring her back safely. Please learn to use a gun. Tale as old as time, huh? Woman falls in love with man, man gets sucked into primal. Woman tries summoning primal to be reunited with man. Load of old rot, if you ask me, but mine seems to believe it. We're all in agreement on one thing, though. An innocent child's at the mercy of the Illuminati, and it's our job to rescue her.
Curse me for a fool. I should have known better than to underestimate the Illuminati. I assumed the missing piece in their plan was the Codex fragment, but they were talking about Round Rocks all along. We must mount a rescue, now, without delay. To the Illuminati, she's no better than a cog in that monstrous machine. It is like that she's being held somewhere close, somewhere in or close to Alexander's upper body. Continue your push through the left arm, and while the Illuminati are distracted, I will search for a way forward.
Okay. Does each person go to 1? I guess so. Woo! Ow. That fucking cat again. I swear it's gonna turn out to be the mastermind. So now we see, like, the living quarters of the fortress. Where are we? Oh, this way. Okay, so the boss will abduct people. Gas chamber, you need to stand on the vent. Fire chamber, you need to destroy the lock. Okay. And don't step in the spikes too much, but I guess we'll have to go to those 4 locations. Okay. Okay, so that's fire. Okay, we need to break the lock there. I see. They still went down, though. Okay, well. Okay, so Male is gonna get abducted. What do we do about that? Apparently not much. It's a lot of fucking damage that he does. That is a big boulder. What the fuck is happening in this fight? Like, what is even going on? You need to kill the hearts the cat is throwing at the boss. Yes, that sounds like a good idea. Couldn't really help with that with the situation I was in. This is just all of the mechanics. It is all of the mechanics. Tanks just pull the boss away from the hearts. Yeah. The heart can be stunned and slowed. You take damage if you're doing actions. Oh, is that the thing of when he was shooting those bullets that dealt a lot of damage? That was like counterattacking every time? Okay. Yeah. My turn! Right, so what do I do about this? Guess I just kick his ass as much as I can. Okay, so we have to stand on, or whoever he abducts, I guess, has to stand on the thing. Stand on the vent. Hey, we got him. I have no idea what was going on in that fight. But I am no longer dead. So the master of the Illuminati himself came flying in to drive you out. Sounds like you got him worried. We must be getting close.
Brick, I hear you wait short work a quick fix his flying machine. You'll surely think twice before barging into the short stub uninvited again. Though I don't suppose he has any reason to come around here anymore. He already has his missing piece. Poor Round Rocks. If the Illuminati have harmed her, I don't know what I'll do.
Uplander sends quick things scurrying. Illuminati think twice before threatening us again. Uplander's nearly through left arm. Next, Uplander must push forward into inner parts and save Round Rocks.
Chat is saying it's time. That has me worried.
Congratulations on your victory over Quick Things. While you were busy dismantling his flying machine, I finished charting Alexander's interior. The chamber you reached is situated in the innermost part of the left sector, which means your next aim should be...
Backrix does not trust Treasure Hunter. 3 years ago, she summoned Middle Giant. Backrix wonders if she still wishes to finish mission of dead comrades.
I do not blame you for doubting me. Truth be told, my former mentors often stressed that they were the unthinkable to happen. It would be my burden as the youngest to carry on their work. But building the Codex's perfect world was their dream, not mine. I only borrowed it. As long as I was with those I held dear, I could happily have devoted myself to any cause. Seeing their passion, their joy, that was what filled me with resolve. And it was that which drove me to collect the pieces of the Codex. All their talk of learning and reason of justice and perfection meant little to me in itself. I sometimes wonder why I was able to read the Enigma Codex in the first place. Mayhap it was because my youthful mind was as a blank slate, receptive to any ideal if put convincingly enough. In the end, of course, it didn't matter. The Primal took my friends' passion, their joy, and their idealism, and ground them into dust. Though I survived, my commitment to the cause did not. Put simply, I had no need for a perfect world without them to share it. So believe me when I tell you that I did not seek Alexander's return to realize the dreams of the dead. I only wish to see him again.
Meaning your leader.
The section of Alexander you've been exploring is called Midas, after a king from a legend of Eld. Midas entreated the gods for a finger that would turn all he touched to gold, and the gods duly obliged. But in his carelessness, he transformed the one he loved the most into a lifeless golden statue, and thus the thing he coveted became his undoing. So it was with me and mine. Had we but paused for a moment to consider the means and not simply the end, mayhap my friends would still be alive. But we did not, and they are gone. My one remaining wish is simple, to speak with the man I love once more. If I could do that, I would be satisfied. There, I've told you everything. Assuming no one else wishes to question my motives, I would speak of Round Rock's rescue, as was my original intent. Now listen well. Alexander is divided into 3 main sections, each powered by an independent core. You've already fought your way through the innermost part of Midas, the left arm. The core lies only a little way beyond, but you may be sure that it is the Illuminati will have deployed the bulk of their forces to defend it.
Hold on a minute. Why wouldn't they choose to keep Round Rocks there? The cores are just power sources.
You're correct, and the answer is they wouldn't. Round Rocks is most likely being held within Alexander's upper body, but the Illuminati have locked the entrances from either arm, making it impossible to enter. Our only choice is to stop the core, and in so doing stop Alexander.
I see. Well, why, that's actually rather clever. The Illuminati need Round Rocks to control the Primal, but if it can't move, they'd have no need for her. Well, at the very least, they'd have no choice but to keep her safe until the primal is in working order again.
Activating those cores would have used up every crystal the Illuminati had. If we destroy the second one, I doubt they'll have enough to get them operational again.
Do Uplanders truly think Metal Giant can be toppled?
I mean, I bloody well hope so.
I cannot bear to think of what the Illuminati might be doing to Round Rocks, but as long as Mighty has the final codex fragment, she shouldn't be in any real danger. Should she? I expect the Illuminati will have seen through Mighty's ruse by now. But if they dare to try and take the real codex fragment, I'll jolly well stop them, one way or another.
You really should spend some time doing a non-crafting job, Wedge. Like, just at least pick up a tank or DPS class. They tell me the Illuminati have been up at all hours ferrying raw materials to Alexander. Seems the thrashing you gave to old Quick Things didn't do much to dampen their spirits. I reckon that means we're in for a battle and a half when we get to the core. Still, there's not those goblins that can build that you can't break, lad. At least I hope there isn't. We'll still see, I suppose. Lead the way when you're ready. Me and Wedge will follow with Mide.
Our path is clear. We shatter the Illuminati's last lines of defense and disable the core housed within Midas. In the depths of my despair, with the loss of my friends still fresh in my mind, I would give anything to take back what we had done, even if it meant my own life. But the world does not work like that, and even if it did, it's not what my beloved would have wanted.
Treasure Hunter truly believes Soul of Lost Love sleeps in Metal Giant. Madness. But Backrix does not doubt resolve to rescue Round Rocks. Go with Mide deep into Midas and deactivate second core. But do not underestimate Illuminati. Day and night they bring supplies into a steel fortress. Backrix suspects Illuminati are tinker-making new weapons.
It is time for something, apparently. Distressing. Turn up the music, they say. Okay. I'll do that soon as I can. Okay, another mecha. Ooh, hello. Oh shit, it's these guys again. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, one of them has beam cannons. I think it's the brawler, right? Yep. They seem to have a handle on it, I think. God, I hope. Okay. I don't know what numbers of things you're supposed to stand on the thing with. But, well, at least he's dead. Okay. I noticed they're not disappearing. Ah. Oh, no, I think... Oh, they're gonna Voltron. No, fuck. Oh, shit. It even has a theme song. Of course it... Okay, it does. Yeah, definitely don't stand in that. Super jump, huh? Target me, please. No? Okay. Yeah. Oh, I don't like this. And they drop the things, and he's gonna do beam cannons. Okay. Right, that's a double beam cannon. That's a big party one. And now everyone's doing their mechanics. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Fucking hell. Okay, could not survive that. Oh, you have to stack up for rocket punches. Okay. I didn't see the indicator for that. Am I just blind? Okay, I think we've got him if we don't all die all of a sudden. Okay. Cool guys don't look at explosions. A lot of raids don't have consistent tells. Ah, okay, I see. Well, now I feel less bad for not figuring it out. From Stormblood onwards, they become a lot more clear. That's good. Whew, that was a bit of a... that was a bit of a thing. Second core, I do believe. Once that's out of commission, Alexander won't be going anywhere.
Diane, would that I could see you just once more. Farewell, my love.
Dark Souls font egg cracked. You. Oh no, enemies I've already defeated by the dozens. Whatever shall we do?
Too frightened to face us alone, I see. Not that I blame you, we all know what Brick did to you last time.
To usher in the future that has been writ, even the strongest Gobby must sometimes pretend to be weak and let enemies win.
Oh, pretending, were you? And I suppose losing this core was all part of your plan. Don't make me laugh. You know about as much about the future as we do.
Quick Quickthings knows all. For example, Quickthings knows one among Uplanders carries true fragment of Enigma Codex.
Well, it seems the game is up, Biggs. There's no hiding the truth in quick things. Very well, I admit it. I have the fragment, but I won't be handing it over to the likes of you.
Good boy, Wedge. Boy, Wedge, didn't you hear him? He knows all! Which means he knows that what you're carrying is a worthless rock, while I've got the genuine article tucked away in my small clothes.
Quickthings already knows conclusion of Uplander's childish games.
He's coming for me!
Huh? What's he waiting for?
Long ago was outcome decided. Uplanders think they are victorious, but luck is no friend to them today.
What?
And now Enigma Codex belongs to Illuminati. All pieces fall into our hands.
Which is when Brick will jump heroically off the platform, which is high above, and just absolutely stab the shit out of that guy with a sword thrust from above, right? I have Dragoon class. I could do that. Anytime now. Any moment. Any second. Any second. Okay. I love not doing anything to prevent terrible things from happening. As far as I can make out, though, things in good working order. No damage, no signs of tampering. I can only think it was an energy fluctuation that did it. Just bad luck.
Bad luck? You're saying it was pure chance that the platform stopped at that exact moment? Then what about quick things? There's no way he could have predicted something like that. The odds would be infinitesimal. Well, however he did it, the fact remains that he did, but that doesn't mean we have to stand for it. When someone takes something from you, you just have to take it back.
It is a sort of, like, we've talked about this many times before while playing Final Fantasy XIV, but it really is a thing that it feels kind of disempowering, right? Like, it feels very conflicting and very annoying. Like, it's genuinely kind of upsetting sometimes, this thing of, like, oh, you're just useless in a cutscene. Like, cutscenes are just gonna happen, and then the bad guys are gonna show up, and they're gonna monologue, and they're gonna say, aha, but you haven't thought of the thing, and then they'll do the thing, and then they'll just get away with it. And, like, it's one thing if, like, you try and stop it and you fail, but another thing is, like, in cutscenes, for the most part, as the Warrior of Light, you don't even try. Like, you don't make any moves, you don't attempt to do anything about anything, and it does feel very disempowering. Because it puts you in a position where you can only ever, like, react after the fact. Like, you can't prevent a bad thing from happening. You can only take revenge for it or, like, work to undo the damage, but you can't stop it from happening ever. And as a part of storytelling, it's a thing that's like, when it keeps happening over and 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 over again over the course of like 150 hours of playing the game, or however the fuck long I've been playing it, when it keeps happening over and over again like that, it really does start to become a thing that just feels like you kind of lose investment a little bit, because you kind of know, like, oh yeah, I won the boss fight, but there's going to be a cutscene, and then, oh no, we don't do anything, and then we have to go and fight another boss fight, and then we have to go and fight another boss fight where we don't do anything in the cutscene afterwards. Like, it becomes a thing that sort of, it tears a little bit at the engagement, at the immersion of feeling like you are an active participant in the story, right? Like, because it doesn't really feel like you get to do much as a character. And, like, there are completely understandable reasons why they do this, like, because everyone plays a different class. Everyone plays a different character. So if you wanted to animate a cutscene where the Warrior of Light does something, you have to do it for every single body type so that it, like, fits and works with the cinematography. And if you want them to use abilities during fights, you have to choose an ability from every single goddamn fucking job that will suit the purposes. Like, it's a whole hell of a lot of work to try and make this happen, right? Like, to try and do this within the confines of a game like Final Fantasy XIV and an MMO. It is very, very difficult. I'm not saying it's something they could just easily do, but it is a thing of, like, I wish I could be a hero in the cutscene also. That would be nice. Like, and not just out here in gameplay land.
What a bunch of bleeding dolts. Why didn't we just leave the fragment here with Backrex? Still, we did do one thing right, I suppose. The second core is out of action, and that primal's going nowhere. Try as I might, I cannot think of a logical explanation for what happened back there. Not only did the platforms malfunction at precisely the right moment, but QuickThinks was on the only one that didn't. And it just so happened to be in exactly the right place to catch the codex fragment. Do you know how difficult it would be to orchestrate something like that, much less predict?
Forgive me. Through my incompetence, the Illuminati have all they need to control Alexander. And though the beast is now immobile, I cannot help but feel that matters are worse. Nor do our troubles end there. In our absence, Backrex seems to have taken leave of his senses.
Isn't that a reflection of reality, though? All of the good guys, IRL, like first responders, can only ever react to bad things happening. They can't practically work toward preventing bad things from happening, because that would be oppression and fascism. No? No, that's not, no. I don't understand that logic at all. Preventative work happens all the time for every kind of social ill and problem. It's like there are lots of ways you can prevent almost any disaster from happening. It's just, it's not you can't necessarily do it immediately before the disaster. Like something like Chernobyl, right? Chernobyl was very much a preventable disaster. Easily preventable, like incredibly easily. It's just that the actions necessary to prevent it needed to happen systemically and continuously for years before the accident happened. Once the core was melting down, nobody could stop it, right? But like there were plenty of ways to prevent the core from melting down, and it's very easy to have confirmation bias about this because you don't hear about every disaster that doesn't happen, right? Like all of the disasters that are successfully prevented, no one talks about them because why would you make a news story out of man does job and things are fine? But like disasters of like Y2K is a great example. Like Y2K was going to be a disaster that was going to shut down like half of the world's computers and like break traffic control systems and air traffic control, and it was going to break banks and it was going to break everything, right? And so a whole lot of people, like thousands and thousands of computer engineers, spent years just working non-stop to prevent Y2K from happening, and then they did. And the world responded by going, ugh, Y2K was a load of bullshit, nothing even happened. Except, no, people did everything to prevent it from happening, and they were successful. It's not that nothing happened, it's that prevention was incredibly successful. right? Like, because stuff was gonna happen. Like, Y2K, like, maybe it was a little overhyped by the media, but, like, bad shit was gonna happen. And then a bunch of very dedicated, smart people put a lot of work into making sure it didn't. And then it worked. And then everything was fine.
Do Uplanders forget something? Matters are too urgent for such foolish doings. What? Tongue flaps of Uplander make Backrix almost to laugh. Uplander claims to have stopped core and lost fragment to quick things. Look here, Uplander. Backrix has brain caves like steel trap, catching all heard things, all seen things, and he saw Uplanders leave, but a few moments ago. Backrix senses something is amiss.
Pardon? Also, what's happening over here? Oh, it's a fate, doink.
Backrix is certain Uplanders left Planetal Giant only moments before returning. He watches Uplanders disappear over horizon with own two eyes. But it is impossible to return so soon if Uplander's tale is true. Why Treasure Hunter also makes such claims Backrix does not know. Go, Uplander. Trade tongue flaps with might and think together of explanation.
Oh, Spider Kiss, thank you for subscribing. Isn't that part of the problem with recognizing that preventative work has happened? If it's successful, the result is often nothing happened. While if bad things happen, there's a clear indication that something happened. Yeah, I mean that's the huge problem that we have, especially within like particular forms of liberalism. Is like if you have a preventative system in place to stop disasters from happening, and then for 20 years it very successfully stops disasters from happening. It's very easy for like austerity-minded liberals and like conservatives to go, well, that system is completely fucking useless. There hasn't been a disaster like that in 20 years. Why should we keep funding this? We can cut this down. This is not necessary. This is big government overreach. We can slim this down. We can privatize it. We don't need it. And then they do that, and then all of a sudden you have disasters absolutely fucking everywhere. See, for example, the American infrastructure issue that they have, right? And that's a huge and present political problem, is that when prevention is successful, it becomes an argument for like doing less prevention. And that's a huge systemic issue that the world struggles with. And it leads to like defunding of all kinds of really important systems and institutions that we need for the world to run.
Have you been able to make any sense of Backrix's account? According to his version of events, we would scarcely have had time to reach the core, much less shut it down. But we were all there, we all know what happened.
Are you sure he's not just confused? Maybe he got lost in all that data of his and forgot the time. I'm afraid not. That is, unless the goblin standing watching the Alexander was also confused. His reports corroborate Backrix's. No, something else is going on here, I'm certain of it. The question is, what? For if we assume for a moment that the goblin's accounts are true, then hardly any time has passed since we entered the barrier around Alexander.
Time stopped? Impossible.
Impossible? You mean like Quick Think's predicting exactly what was going to happen in the core room? I hate to say it, but maybe he wasn't talking out his arse. If time doesn't work the same in there, maybe he saw the future.
There may be another explanation for that. There's a device deep within Alexander capable of performing complex mathematical calculations. It is not outside the realm of possibility that it could be used to predict the outcome of simple events.
Using mathematics to predict the future? Now, even if I could believe that, it wouldn't explain this business with Backrix. Bix is right. Perhaps the presence of the primal somehow disrupted the flow of time within the barrier. It's only a theory, of course, a far-fetched one at that. but it might go some way towards explaining recent events.
To be clear, you're implying that the Illuminati are aware of this temporal disruption and have been using it to somehow gaze into the future? Very well. If you are willing to accept that, why not go further? Might it not be the case that they have found a way to bend time to their will? By moving back and forth in time, the Illuminati could effectively manipulate the present however they saw fit. They would ever remain one step ahead of us, our every effort doomed to fail from the first.
Now that's a sobering theory. But it's still only a theory, right? There's no point panicking just yet. Where'd you get the chief a call on your link pearl, why don't you? If anyone knows how to untangle this knot, it's him.
Chief, it's me. It's about Alexander. We noticed something strange about time inside the primal... What? No, not our time inside the primal. The time. I mean, time itself. Chief, it might be best if you just came here. Aye, we'll await your arrival.
I've heard about some strange things in my time, but this might well be at the top of the lot. Just thinking about it gives me a sore head. No sense racking our brains over it, though. The chief will only end up proving us wrong.
Chief says it's on his way, and I think I heard your Tola's voice on the other end as well. She kept asking what I was talking about.
It seems like only yesterday that Round Rocks and I spent a few happy hours here sorting through her collection of treasures. How did things come to this?
All right. Is that a heated debate I hear? Boy, she started without me. Now, what's that you were saying over the link, Pearl? Something about running out of time?
Sid insisted that I accompany him, though I would have come even had he not. Matters have taken a turn for the worse, I gather.
You could say that. You can say, yeah, you can say that again.
Etheric fluctuations are akin to those I observed shortly before the Primal's awakening. In the absence of a functioning core, its form is dissipating, albeit slowly.
Stola, would you mind lending me your goggles for a moment? It can't hurt to have a second opinion. What in the seven hells? The ether pouring from the primal's flowing backwards, as if time were passing in reverse.
That cannot be. Such a phenomenon is wholly without precedent. Knowing so little of this primal's capabilities, however, it would be remiss to discount the possibility outright. If it is as we fear, then at this very moment Alexander could be undoing our efforts to shut down its course. All of our labors will have been for naught. Ah, the treasure hunter of whom we've heard so much. You seem unperturbed by our outlandish speculations. Was this perchance the subject of Wedge's communication?
God help us. If there's any truth to this, it won't matter how many cores we disable. The Illuminati will simply undo any damage we cause.
Now what do we do, Chief? How do we even begin to fight something like that?
I hit it with my sword really hard?
To erase the past, to return to a clean slate, could Diane have known?
Preparations for restoration of Enigma Codex are complete. Calculations show a margin of error for future readings is 0.03%. Foolish Gobe, when future is decided, there is no error. There is no failure. Listen, well chosen of Illuminati. At last all pieces are in place. No longer must wise suffer foolishness of unwise. Their time has come to backstrike. Inferiors will make way for perfect world, or die. Now, restore Enigma Codex! Now is Alexander Illuminati's to control. Soon will cores disabled by our blunders be disabled no longer. Reverse time! Once power flows to third core, Alexander will be fully operational, and with third core will true potential awaken. Wings of time will unfurl, and all of history will be at mercy of Illuminati. Chosen ones will amend mistakes of past and reshape world into perfection. At last, prophecies of Enigma Codex will be fulfilled. And Quick Thinks All Thoughts will rule as king of new world, of correct world. Chosen ones, menders of history, be proud to serve as builders of this paradise.
Okay, but counterpoint, big sword.
We don't have the luxury of time to plan our next step. We must rescue Roundrocks without delay for her sake and ours.
Seems we already have more questions than answers where this primal is concerned. If the Illuminati really can see into the future, does that mean they already know what we're gonna do next? You should tell them the chief have returned to Matoya's cave. Don't worry, between them, they're sure to find the answer to our problems. If it isn't waiting on a shelf in the Charlene Annals, it'd be in some forgotten corner of the chief's brain. You mark my words. The next time we meet Quick Things, we'll be ready for him.
Adventurer, there's something I would like to discuss with you, but mayhap it would be best to wait until we are safely back at Short Stop. I'll see you there. I suppose I should start by apologizing for everything. Were it not for me, the Illuminati would never have summoned that infernal machine, or gained the means to control it. And now Quick Things possesses the power to manipulate time, to foresee the future and erase the past. I dare not think how he will use it. Returning the cores to their former state was but a foretaste. When all three are active and Alexander can traverse both time and space, nothing will stand between the Illuminati and their twisted utopia. We cannot let it come to that, Brick. Somehow we must find a way to stop them. But first we must rescue Round Rocks. Of all the innocent victims of this sorry tale, her plight pains me the most. The shortstop just isn't the same without her. I hope someone will keep her treasures safe until she returns.
Before we go, we have a few glam reviews. One from Castamir Atsviata, I think. Okay. Rocking that graphic shirt thing. Very Final Fantasy 15 in its expression, really. Like a lot of very modern aesthetics. I like the gloves. Because with the hard plate and the knuckles as a counterpoint to the relative softness of the rest of the outfit. That's quite good. Nice facial tattoos. Yeah, you really get the sense of a really modern sort of urban protagonist kind of character. And the axe is well chosen for that because it looks medieval, but it doesn't look out of step with the relative smoothness of the rest of the outfit. It looks very well crafted, right? Where I think if you had an axe that was really rough and kind of primal or whatever, that would be more of a contrast, which can also work for it. But I like that there's some coherency here. Yeah, that's just a handsome character. I don't think I have a lot to say about it. That's just pretty well put together. I like the gloves a lot. The glasses are cool. They're a really nice feature for the face. They add some character to the face that wouldn't otherwise be there. The thing about glasses, right? They are sort of the stereotypical put glasses on a character if you want them to look smart, right? Intellectual, if you want them to look like thinkers. Right. So without the glasses, he would probably look a lot more like a brawler. A lot more hey, yo, what fuck up is up, man? Let's go. He'd probably look more like that. But with the glasses, you sort of get the sense of this might be a thinker. This might be someone who reads books. That's a hell of an axe, too. That's quite nice. Let's see. There's someone else in... Hello, Nala Cosmere. You're right next to me. A Dark Knight, you say? Ooh. Glowing weapon. Okay, yeah, the classic black and red. That pretty much always works for, anyone who's, supposed to be an edgy Dark Knight, someone who fights with their passion and their emotions kind of thing. So, that always works for that. I will say, I think the weapon is a little well, again, it depends on what kind of Dark Knight you want the character to be. If it's, a Dark Knight who fights for good, then, the bright white of the sword might work. But if you want a Dark Knight who's specifically angry, aggressive, evil, then I think the shape language of the sword is good because it's very jagged and I don't know about the color scheme, the glow. I would think of something more a aggressive red glow, an orange, maybe a purple to sort of match with the general spell effects of the Dark Knight. But the shape language definitely works. And the idea of having a glowing weapon is perfect. That absolutely works for a Dark Knight. I will say it's just too bright to sort of, if the idea is to invite the vibe of Dark Knight, then this feels a little bit too bright for that to me. But other than that, the coat is really fucking cool. Because it has, all the spikes, all this spiky shape language on it. Sharpness, which denotes danger, which, makes it feel like a dangerous character. Eye patch is always a good touch, too. Let's see, what do you got for boots? I cannot see. Okay, right, some greaves. Okay, you could probably do something more fancy with the boots if you wanted to. Or you could go even simpler. Like, you could go for something like really simple. Like, you're kind of already there. Like, these are sort of very simple workaday boots. They don't have all the decoration and all the sort of ornamentation of the coat. So, like, that works, like, in terms of, like, because boots... Remember, like, the thing we talk about, like, with hats, that they're statement pieces, right? Like, they tell us something about how to perceive the character, what kind of archetype they are. Put a cowboy hat on anything, and it's a cowboy, right? Like, that happens. Boots, on the other hand, they tell you something about how the character moves through the world, right? Like, they say something about how does this character travel, what do they prioritize? So if you're wearing, like, stiletto heels, for example, it's like, okay, this character wants their ass to look great. Like, this character wants to be elegant, this character wants to be refined, this character wants to be beautiful in some way. Like, that's what stiletto heels say. Like, or some kind of fancy footwear. But if they wear very simple boots or something that's, like, really basic on their feet, but, like, really comfortable and really convenient and practical, that tells you something about, okay, this is someone who doesn't give a shit about, like, having their feet look good. They just want to be able to move comfortably over rough terrain, right? Or move around in the world. So boots can be a good way to sort of tell you something about a character's attitude to their environment. And I like the simple boots, like, as a contrast to the really fancy coats. Because, like, that, again, the implication of the character design there is like, oh, okay, this is someone who's not that fussed about being fancy. They just want, like, some nice, sensible, sturdy workman-like boots to sort of take them around. And, like, those are the kinds of things that you can so you can play with that. Like, if you want the character to be perceived differently, if you want them to be, this is someone who's, like, elegant, who, like, fights with elegance and grace, and who's, like, very sort of, then you can get them some, like, really fancy boots that look kind of dainty, right? Like, that look a little bit fragile, maybe, because that'll tell people something about, okay, this character's, like, very confident on their feet, they care about elegance, they care about, you know, so, like, that's an option for character designing this design further, if that was something you wanted to do. And, of course, you could always give her a hat to change how the character is perceived. That is a really fucking good coat, though. Like, with the fur collar. That rules. Let's see. Then there's Yuki Nishiko. Oh, okay. Okay, so you're working with an interesting contrast here. Because you have, like, this big coat, which sort of looks almost like it's supposed to, like, for cold environments or something, but then there's the crop top and the hot pants and the thigh action. That's interesting, because what you get from that is, like, a very top-heavy design, right? Like, a lot of the design is up here, like, because you have the coat with all the detailing on it, and then you have very little down here to sort of draw the attention, and that's interesting. Like, that creates an interesting character. I like the thigh action, like that. I like it when like male characters get a little sexy. That's fun. Yeah, and again, like, the thing about the boots, right? Like, the boots tell you how the character likes to move through the world. So you've got these, like, tabby boot things with, like, the naked feet inside of them, which sort of implies, like, a very casual approach to moving through the world. Like, a very sort of, fuck it, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't need steel toes. I don't need, like walking boots or whatever. It's like, that sort of tells you something about their attitude towards moving through the world, where, depending on the vibe you're going for, which you didn't really say anything about, you can do things with that where you either go with, like, some flip-flops. Like, you could really go casual if you wanted to really lean into the sort of casual vibe of the thing. Like, go with flip-flops, for example, or sandals or something. Like, that's really, like, just, like very sort of casual and flippant. To really give the vibe of, like, this character is, like, a free spirit. This character is, like, someone who's not too bothered about it, who's not too worried. Like, that's an option for that. You could go with some very sensible, very, very, like, sturdy, reasonable shoes or boots or something like that, and that would tell you something about, like, okay, the character dresses a little bit outrageous, but they are actually conscious of the practicalities of their world. Okay, so you got the blue sword, but then the coat itself is mostly red. There's a clash there, I think, a little bit, like, with the blue tint of the weapons, because the coat is brown, right? Like, these are all very warm colors. So the sword, and the same thing, like, with the straps around the legs, and even the hot pants are, like, warm tones of gray. And that contrast, that clashes a little bit with the sword. And I'm not 100% sure what to read from that. Because, like, when there's a contrast, when there's a clash between a character and their weapon, that usually tells you something about, like, that the weapon expresses maybe some part of them that they're not comfortable with, or it's like some part of like a rebellion, or it's connected with some kind of discordant emotion in them. Like a character who's uncomfortable with killing, for example, might have a weapon that kind of really clashes with them. A character who's fighting for a cause they don't believe in, you can sort of show that visually by giving them a weapon that clashes with the rest of their outfit. Or a character who's in a situation that they don't want to be in, but nonetheless they're fighting. Same thing. So that, like, reading it as a character design, immediately I kind of go, okay, this seems like a character who's uncomfortable with violence or with the weapon that they've chosen. So, like, and if that's intentional, then it's working. If it's not intentional, you might consider changing the hue of the scabbard to be in the reds, like, or maybe just a warmer blue, actually. You could probably also do that. Something more closer to like a reddish purple, maybe. Would do it in terms of like aligning the color scheme. I really like the coat though. Like, that's a really cool coat. I love that it's a crop top as well. Like, that has a lot of personality. Like, the coat is a really strong central point to build the rest of the character design around. And I like the idea of, like, having like the booty shorts and like the bare thighs thing. I think you might support it better with some smaller sandals. If, like, you really want to go with that. Or... well, I don't know. Like, no, because the thighs are good. I was thinking about, like, maybe there were some trousers. I was thinking about, like, I don't know if you can get these in Final Fantasy 14. Tidus's pants from Final Fantasy 10. Which are like, they're like shorts, but then they have like the one leg that has like a mesh thing on it. Something like that might work a little bit, because that would balance out a little bit with the jacket, and sort of balance out the level of detail from top to bottom, if that's something you were interested in doing. Something like that, like mesh fishnets, if you want to go with something kind of slutty or sexy for that matter. Then fishnets would also do it. But, like, the coat is really strong. Like, building something around the coat as an outfit. And, like, I should also say, there's a great coherency between, like, the color coordination of, like, the coat and the hot pants down into the straps around the legs. That I think you've done really well. There are no fishnets for male characters? What? That's bullshit! God, Square! How dare you? You can't do that! That is gender discrimination. I've been playing 16, so of course I had to turn my Warrior of Light into a dominant, or at least as well as 14 allows. They're a dominant of a Fey King. The wings show up when semi-priming. Use some crimes, so mods, but mostly to show pieces I don't actually have, plus use dancer weapons instead of ninja ones. The outfit itself is perfectly valid on ninja with the weapon. I believe striking has the same model as well. Okay. Oh yeah, I can see that. It's like a dominant of Siren or something along those lines. I can definitely see that. If you're going specifically for the Final Fantasy XVI aesthetic, I would get rid of the lilac shirt and turn that into a white shirt or a black shirt. Because Final Fantasy XVI specifically, like, the aesthetics of Final Fantasy XVI specifically are very resistant to sort of colorful clothes. It's all very sort of dour and down to earth. Even the primed dominants and shit like that have a tendency to be quite dour. So, like, I might get rid of the lilac shirt, or not the shirt itself, but the color, and go with something else that supports, like, the color of the wings and the color of, like, dominants are also associated with a specific color of magic, right? So if it's a dominant of something like Siren, or a fairy king of some kind, you would want weapons, for example, that channel purple energy, stuff like that. Like, you would want something with, like, visual effects that sort of that sort of match up to that. If you can find a weapon with like a purple glow, that would sort of help that. I like the skirts, like the half skirt on the body. I like the boots. And again, like in terms of color coordination, the wings to me look more like they're sort of in a purple reddish spectrum. And so that works okay enough with like the ribbons, the things, the strap things on the boots. But I think it clashes a little bit with the lilac shirt. Like, because the lilac sort of works with the tip of the wings, but not so much. Like, I think the dominant color of the wings is, like, darker than the lilac can support. So you could go with, like, a deeper purple, like a really dark, sort of rich purple on the shirt as well, if you wanted to. But at the moment, I think there's a little bit of a clash between, like, the bright red flower and like, those very bright red straps on the boots and the shirt and then the wing. Like, you could go for something that sort of flows a little bit more smoothly together between those things. Because if you are coordinating around the idea of being, like, these are the wings that appear when semi-priming, you should try and use the color palette of the wings themselves to guide the outfits that are available on general character. Like, for example, the boots also have a brown hue, right? And that is just barely supported by the wings, but you could go for something that's like pure black. You could go for something that has like a more ostentatious color. But that would be my main feedback for this. Like, I think the idea here is really, really strong. I completely see it. Like, when you say, like, you turned them into a dominant, like, they're semi-primed shit, like, yes, that works. I see that immediately. Like, you're getting that exactly right. Everything I'm saying is just more like how to streamline it, how to, like, thinking about ways in which to sort of coordinate the color scheme. That's pretty much all I'm doing here. Because, like, you've absolutely nailed the idea of, like, yeah, I could absolutely see, like, a dominant in Final Fantasy XVI of a fairy king who has, like, a semi-primed form like that. Absolutely. And with that, I think it is time that I call this stream to a close. And also, by extension, this episode of Final Fantasy XIV. If you want to see me finish Alexander, you're going to have to come back for the next episodes, or the next stream, whichever you prefer. If you want to watch on YouTube, you can become a member of the channel to get early access to episodes before they come out for everyone else. If you want to watch on stream, head on over there and become a subscriber, and you'll get access to the VODs of the streams, including stuff that happens in between the recordings. Anyway, I think that's all the self-promotion I have to do, so thank you very much for watching. Remember to be kind to one another. Have solidarity with those who are worse off than yourselves, and may the tides of history wash gently over us all.